Alright, what's happening, y'all? This is your boy Rico coming with them team needs, coming with the Redskins' top needs, and the priority of those needs, and the best prospects available to fill those needs at those positions. And when I say prospects, I mean draft prospects, but I also provide a free agent or two per position that might be a good idea to bring in. And the purpose of this video, first of all, is to organize not only just y'all thoughts, but to organize minds. I needed to see on paper in an organized fashion with detail exactly what the Redskins needs are, so when I start doing my mock drafts and start getting on Twitter and debating with folks and all of that, I wanted to make sure I have my thoughts organized and everything. And if you like to do mock drafts or debate on Twitter or argue on Twitter, you can use these team needs as a guide. And I feel like I'm a genius, but I also encourage y'all to make your own team needs if you're gonna use it to debate, make videos with, or do mock drafts and stuff. But for those who don't feel like doing all of that thinking and preparation and research and all of that, just use this guide that I'm giving you right now. Let's go ahead and start. Let's get it. So first of all, the most important need, and the reason why some people somehow, for some reason, still think Chase Young isn't an automatic selection: offensive tackle. We need it so bad that there are people out there that still prefer to take Andrew Thomas over Chase Young.
Why?
And I understand, because we do need offensive tackle help. Because even if Trent Williams comes back, we need somebody to replace Morgan Moses. I mean, either way, we're taking a tackle in this draft and or signing one in free agency. We have to. But hopefully Trent Williams comes back and solves that problem. But if he doesn't, we can trade him to the Browns and use that pick instead of the second overall pick. Use their first round pick, which as of right now is actually in a pretty good spot. It's 12th overall in the draft, which really isn't that bad. We should definitely be able to get Andrew Thomas or Tristan Wirfs with that pick. But either way, let me get back to that. The need is present because Trent Williams looks like he's not coming back, especially if Bruce Allen is here. But if Bruce Allen is gone, Trent Williams still might not come back, especially if we aren't prepared to extend him and have stipulations and language in the contract that he finds suitable, and money. He wants a certain amount of guaranteed money up front. So he probably won't come back. So then we can use that Browns pick to get an offensive tackle, which is a pretty deep draft for them too. The deepest positions are definitely offensive tackle and wide receiver, especially when you consider like the disparity in talent. Andrew Thomas, according to a lot of actual professional scouts, draft analysts, some of them don't even have Andrew Thomas as their number one tackle. Some people have Tristan Wirfs. Some people have one or two of the guys from Alabama. So even though I do love Andrew Thomas, and I'm the biggest UGA fan you'll find out there, man. Hold up. Let me show y'all real quick. I get the feeling that y'all think I'm playing, bruh. Like, first of all, I got the pillow, you feel me? And just know, with all the Georgia stuff I show you, I have at least 100 times more than that Redskins stuff. Is the blanket, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? Just proving to y'all that I'm not playing over here, man. I got the short sleeve shirt, feel me? Got the beautiful, this material is beautiful. I got the long sleeve shirt, stop playing with me. Got the socks, you dig? Of course, I got the book bag to put it all in, you feel me? And the only reason I have these red and black headphones is for Georgia. I hate the Falcons more than I hate the Cowboys. So the only reason these are red and black is because of Georgia. So I technically call these my Georgia headphones. I should put the little stickers on them. Should put a little G on both sides or whatever. But I'm just saying all of that just to say that Andrew Thomas is my boy. I'm telling you, I love him to death. That's my boy. But Chase Young is just too good to take Andrew Thomas at 2. Trading down, it sounds cool, but Andrew Thomas, Tristan Wirfs, there isn't a big difference, if at all, in their talent. And some people think Tristan I is better. So I feel like it's a reach to get Andrew Thomas that high. But offensive tackle is a big need. Like I said, Trent Williams probably won't come back. So we can address that with the first round that we can get from the Browns. And even if Trent Williams does come back, we need to figure out what we're going to do to replace Morgan Moses. Because Morgan Moses is the one that pretty much got Dwayne Haskins hurt against the Giants week 16 that just passed. And the reason why he's not playing against the Cowboys this weekend coming up at 4:30. Well, really 4:25. So I rated this need 4 out of 5 because it's pretty urgent, but I don't think it's as urgent as most people who feel like it's like a 5 out of 5. I feel like it does need to be addressed, but as you can see, which is really hard to do though, But Donald Penn and Eric Flowers came in out of nowhere and made it work. You know what I'm saying? They weren't terrible. They weren't great, but they held it down. Eric Flowers played well, and Donald Penn kind of held it down. He had his moments where he was folding, but for the most part, he held it down well enough. Of course, he wasn't Trent Williams. Of course, he wasn't Andrew Thomas or Tristan Wirfs, but he held it down. So, like, the last resort, if for some stupid reason we don't address this in the draft at all, we can always try to figure something out in free agency. And Anthony Costanzo will be available in free agency this year, along with some more free agents too. Some more free agent offensive tackles, but he's going to be the best one out there available. And with us potentially having $90 million in cap space for hopefully a new GM, hopefully a new head coach and new front office period to play with and do whatever they have to do to make smart decisions, we'll actually have the money to afford all of that stuff. So we could just go out there and solve the tackle problem in free agency before the draft even comes if we need to. Finally! And then we have tight end, which is a really big problem. If tight end was as important of a position as left tackle, then this need would be even higher because we literally have no answers at tight end. At least tackle, I feel like we can possibly figure something out, finesse our way through it. But tight end is struggle land right now. We are struggling. Jeremy Sprinkle looked better in that Giants game that we lost because he stopped dropping passes. But he's definitely never going to be a Jordan Reed or a Vernon Davis in the passing game. And he's not just this dominant blocker like a George Kittle. George Kittle brings you to Jordan Reed in the passing game and the blocking that you need out of a tight end. Jeremy Sprinkle does the blocking at a decent to good rate, but not great. And then he's not dependable in the passing game. So we definitely need tight end. We technically need tight end more than offensive tackle as far as our roster goes. But since tackle is a more vital position, I have them actually rated the same, 4 out of 5. And as far as the draft goes, Bryson Hopkins and Hunter Bryant are the two best prospects out there. It's pretty debatable, though. There's not a huge gap like the Chase Young to the other edge rushers. But those two seem to be the top tight ends coming into this draft in April. And then Austin Hooper is possibly the best tight end available in free agency. If this was 2 years ago, it would have without a doubt been Hunter Henry, who's also going to be available in free agency. But with injuries, him having an off season this year, even though he came back healthy, and then Austin Hooper for some reason just balling out, and Matt Ryan's preferring to target him over Julio Jones. Even when Julio Jones was open, Matt Ryan was staring down Austin Hooper. So there must be something to that. And we can possibly get him for fairly cheap because he's finally had his first good season, really, like his first really productive season. So hopefully he isn't asking for a lot of money. He's a better blocker and he seems more dependable in the passing game than Jeremy Sprinkle. So having him and Jeremy Sprinkle would be pretty nice. But I would prefer to go ahead and get somebody like a Bryson Hopkins who can really come in and make a true difference immediately. But how I feel, I definitely acknowledge the fact that we need a really good tight end. But the Bears that one game had J.P. Holtz out here balling. Who? So I feel like it's more so coaching and scheme that makes the tight end effective and dangerous. But of course you do have your George Kittles, Travis Kelce, Zach Ertz. Then no matter what the scheme is, they're going to find a way to have an impact. But if you can ball out with J.P. Holtz, who we used to have and didn't really do anything for us, then I feel like we can make something work with Jeremy Sprinkle. But I would still definitely, as you can see with my 4 out of 5 urgency, go pick up a tight end. Preferably in the draft, but we can go get an Austin Hooper or a Hunter Henry and see what happens. Then the next major need, edge rusher. I get that 3.5 out of 5 because I'm not necessarily assuming we're going to trade Ryan Kerrigan, but I hope we do. And hopefully the least we'll get for him is a 3rd round pick. If we would have traded him right before the trade deadline to a team that's trying to be a contender that needed edge rush help, like the Ravens, but now their edge rushers are actually performing quite well, but before the trade deadline they weren't. And then there's also the Chiefs, whose defense is also actually performing well after the trade deadline, but before they weren't, and they were looking to actually get Ryan Kerrigan, but we just decided not to do it. So we could have gotten the most value for Ryan Kerrigan before the trade deadline, but we can't wait till the trade deadline if we hope to get a draft pick out of it that we can use in this 2020 draft. Unless somebody puts Ryan Kerrigan on layaway and gives us the draft pick before we actually trade them to their team.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Which is impossible. And then, of course, draft prospect-wise, Chase Young is just that guy. Like, he is a once-in-a-generation type of player. Like, we're literally probably never going to see an edge rusher coming out of college that's as good as him for like another 20 years. Like literally, he is that guy. He's literally the next Khalil Mack and can probably be better. He's better than Nick Bosa and Joey Bosa, who are balling out currently. So just imagine what happens when we have a Montez Sweat who is improving and will definitely improve and will definitely take major steps forward over the offseason. Because once people go through their rookie season, they come out balling their sophomore season once the game slows down for them. So having Montez Sweat along with possibly the best edge rusher in the league, period, I love that. That makes the job easier on everybody else. The quarterback will have less time to sit back in the pocket, which allows our DBs to play more aggressive, which is something that Quentin Dunbar, Fabian Moreau, Jimmy Moreland, and whoever we may pick up in free agency in the draft, like I'm going to talk about after this point, they can play more aggressive, and those people I just named love to play man coverage. Like somebody like Marcus Peters, who loves to take risk in zone coverage. Having somebody like a Chase Young that makes quarterbacks have to get rid of the ball way faster than they would with anybody else coming off the edge would give somebody like Marcus Peters the best opportunity to take risk and do his pick six thing like he loves to do. Chase Young just to me is just the easiest draft choice we've had in a long time. Like it's just too obvious. He's literally the best player in this draft regardless of position. He might not be the most impactful because quarterback, they dominate the sport unlike any other position in any sport really. And Joe Burrow is the best quarterback available in this draft, but Chase Young is literally the best edge prospect that has come out of the draft in a while and will come out of the draft for a while. The difference between Andrew Thomas and other tackles is like this. The difference between Bryson Hopkins and Hunter Bryant is like this. Chase Young is like this to AJ Ebenesa, and Ebenesa would have been the best edge rusher in last year's draft if he was a junior then and had the season that he just had. And then also free agency wise, even though he's going to ask for a lot of money, there's Jadeveon Clowney. But the Seahawks might franchise tag him. You never know. So he might not be an option. But, he's technically going to be a free agent this offseason. Just wanted to include him in there. And then there's cornerback. I gave that a 3 out of 5 because with Quentin Dunbar being one of the best corners in the league, he got snubbed from the Pro Bowl.
Something is wrong with you people. What the hell has this world come to?
Point blank, period. No argument there. So he's good as long as he can stay healthy. That's his only problem. Then Fabian Moreau started to show a little something before he got hurt. So he might be solid there. And then when in doubt, Jimmy Moreland in the slot or the outside is good. Especially once he starts to develop and he gets into his second year so everything slows down for him. I feel like it's not the most ideal cornerback group, but we can definitely make it shake, especially with somebody like Chase Young rushing the passer alongside Montez Sweat. Those three can definitely hold it down if we have Chase Young and Montez Sweat rushing the passer. But with one of our later picks, if we want to use that 12th overall pick from the Browns that we trade them Trent Williams, if we don't want to go tackle, we can go corner. We can possibly get, I don't think Jeffrey Okudah will make it that far, but there's a possibility. He's the best corner in this draft from Ohio State. Man cover corner. A lot of people say that he's the best corner to come out of college since Jalen Ramsey. But you never know. With the 12th pick, other team needs might prevail. And people might go quarterback heavy, receiver heavy, edge rusher heavy, maybe even running back and offensive line. So you never know. He might make it that far. But if he doesn't, CJ Henderson is really good. Christian Fulton is really good. Those are all great picks for the 12th pick. Or at the very least, top 20 picks. And then, like I said, you have Marcus Peters out there. You also have Byron Jones from the Cowboys, who's more of a man cover corner. I just need him to get that aggression up, to get that, that attitude, that little, roughness to him. If he had that to him, he'd probably start balling out. He's just a little too much of a gentleman for me. But you never know, man. If he's asking for a cheap bag, I feel like we should take the chance on him. Him and Marcus Peters are the same age. I think they're both 27. But in my opinion, I would prefer Marcus Peters because he's willing to take more risk. He's also going to get burned more than a Byron Jones will because Marcus Peters takes risk. But when the risk work, they are game changing. Like I said, he's pick six god. That's what he does. And with Chase Young rushing the passer, Marcus Peters is going to be able to pick off a lot of passes. A lot of rush thrown passes from quarterbacks that Chase Young is attacking and chasing after. And then wide receiver, I give that a 2 out of 5 because Terry McLaurin, Steven Sims, and Kelvin Harmon look like they have something going. Now, literally, if I made this video not even 3 weeks ago, before Steven Sims really started to show something in the slot, and before Kelvin Harmon actually started to make a little noise too, I probably would have rated this at least a 3 out of 5, maybe even a 3.5 or a 4. Because it was just looking like, even though I believed in Steven Sims to do something, Terry McLaurin was the only one that actually put great tape out there. He was the only one that looked like a #1 receiver for sure. So like 3-4 weeks ago, I was hoping we could have Terry McLaurin and then draft somebody alongside with him. But without promising Steven Sims looks in the slot, and with Kelvin Harmon starting to produce, and Cam Sims, with him being like 6'3" or something, was even out there balling before Haskins got hurt shortly after halftime. He was finally that big body presence that we missed with Jordan Reed gone. So you never know. Cam Sims might finally have his year. I know we've been saying this every offseason for like 3 years, but Cam Sims might show out. So you never know. That's why I'm not giving this too high of a priority. But I also don't fully trust the group yet. I love Terry McLaurin, super trust him. I see a lot of promise in Steven Sims, but as a collective, especially with me hoping that we get rid of Paul Richardson's contract, because he's just hurt. He's not Deshaun Jackson, so even when he's healthy, he's not doing a lot, even though it probably has a lot to do with the quarterbacks that were throwing to him at the time. I don't think Dwayne Haskins really had a chance to throw towards Paul Richardson, except for the times he was getting thrown out there to the Wolves, and Dwayne Haskins hadn't actually progressed yet and developed. But still, I think Paul Richardson, is time to go. That contract is too fat. So you have college prospects Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, and Henry Ruggs that easily make the top 3 for me. Jerry Jeudy at first had a big gap on them, but the second half of the season he started dropping passes. I feel like him and CeeDee Lamb are neck and neck. I think the best way to view it is, do you want Odell Beckham and Jerry Jeudy? Do you want DeAndre Hopkins and CeeDee Lamb? Or do you want a healthy, prime Deshaun Jackson and Henry Ruggs? Which one do you want? We can really use all 3. I feel like CeeDee Lamb and Henry Ruggs would be a better match for our team though, because with Terry McLaurin being an Odell type anyway, great route runner, exceptional speed, but he's not in the slot usually. He's on the outside. I feel like a DeAndre Hopkins type that's like 6'2", really aggressive, strong, big body, box people out catcher, red zone target type of guy. And super yards after catch, but not with his swiftness, quickness, agility. He's just running people over. It's the same effect that running backs have over the course of a game. DBs just get tired of tackling somebody like that if you keep feeding them. You know, that's a very underrated trait to have right there. Having DBs scared and hurt by the fourth quarter, you can get a lot of yards after catch with somebody like CeeDee Lamb if you keep feeding him. He's literally the DeAndre Hopkins mode. As much as I love Jerry Jeudy, I feel like we already have that in Terry McLaurin. And especially with how high Jerry Jeudy might go, shoot, take Chase Young with the 2nd pick, and that hypothetical 12th pick I keep talking about from the Browns, take CeeDee Lamb. Because Jerry Jeudy is not making it to the 12th pick, and I definitely don't want us to take him with the 2nd. But then you also have Henry Ruggs out there, who's basically a healthy prime Deshaun Jackson. That would be useful too. Steven Sims in the slot. Kelvin Harmon kind of playing the CeeDee Lamb, DeAndre Hopkins role. He's more of a Pierre Garçon though. Terry McLaurin on the outside. And then you have Henry Ruggs taking the lid off the defense like a Deshaun Jackson. That's really useful too. But Jerry Jeudy is also just so good that it doesn't matter. Him and Terry McLaurin, throw him out there with Steven Sims. We gonna make it shake. Somebody's always going to be open. Terry McLaurin is always already open. But if you have a Jerry Jeudy, who's basically a Amari Cooper, but with better catching, or like I said earlier, an Odell, I don't see where you can go wrong there. Having 2 Odells is not a bad idea at all. I would just like to have an Odell and a D-Hop rather than 2 Odells. You feel me? But free agent-wise, Amari Cooper is going to be a free agent, and I'm not exactly sure if the Cowboys are going to pay him. They have to pay Dak, and Dak is going to be asking for the whole bag, probably even $40 million a year. They already paid Zeke, underperforming Zeke. They already paid DeMarcus Lawrence, underperforming DeMarcus Lawrence. I don't know where they're going to get the money to pay Amari Cooper. I don't know where they're going to find all that money at, so they probably won't re-sign Amari Cooper. We might want to take a look at him. Especially with how much he's been dropping passes, he shouldn't be asking for the whole bag, maybe. I don't know. But if we can get him in free agency and use our picks for other needs, that would be great. And like I said, I feel like our wide receiver group that literally we have as of today is decent enough to win games, but it would be great to have another guy that we bring in, whether through the draft or free agency, like the names I've already said and explained. But then you also have AB out there, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how much to trust him. He is crazy. He goes on a rant, then gets sad, and goes on another rant, and then gets sad, and then blames everybody else. I mean, something wrong with him, man. For real, for real. Look at these music videos he's doing. This man looks silly out here. I don't think they'll be able to take him serious in the locker room.
Whose mess is this? What are we doing?
Cut the cameras. Dead ass.
Stop it. Get some help.
Y'all see that, man? That boy is weird out here, bro. He's tripping, bro. I don't know, man. I mean, you can be weird, but I don't know. He looks a little crazy, and we've already seen the drama he's caused to the Steelers, Raiders, and Patriots. I mean, if you don't work with Bill Belichick and the Patriots system, the Patriots way, I don't know who you'll work with, but Dwayne Haskins wants him. Him and Dwayne Haskins have trained a lot in the previous offseason. They have chemistry. You never know. AB might not even be asking for a lot of money. We could try to take a risk on him. I'm down for it. And then we'll basically have an Odell Beckham and an AB. But I'm about to stop calling Terry McLaurin Odell because Terry McLaurin is Terry McLaurin. That man balls out and he is not in anybody's shadow. But I just wanted to give y'all a good gauge on the impact he has in football games. Just in case if you didn't know. But at the end of the day, Terry McLaurin is Terry McLaurin. He's not Odell. He's not Antonio Brown. He's himself. He balls out. And now, everything I just talked about basically won't matter if we don't address these needs. Yeah.
It's over. We are screwed.
You got front office, easy 5 out of 5. Head coaches, easy 5 out of 5. For front office, there's so many candidates out there. There's so many angles you can take on it. We can bring in Alex Smith, and he can have some sort of GM role. We can let Urban Meyer have some sort of GM role. Some people want Louis Riddick. We could try him. There's a lot of ways we can go with GMs. Hopefully it's not Tom Coughlin, but there's a lot of ways. We can even just promote Kyle Smith, who's the director of player scouting. He's the one basically that's been running these last few drafts, where we've been just finding gem after gem. Terry McLaurin, Cole Holcomb, Kelvin Harmon in this last draft. In the previous 2 years where we've been able to make moves and actually draft smart. So you never know. We might promote Kyle Smith. There's so many ways to go about it. But the main issue, and the reason I put it 3 times, and that's the only thing I put there, is not Bruce Allen, not Bruce Allen, not Bruce Allen. We need to get him out of here. I've said in several videos why, with several statistics and examples why we need to get rid of Bruce Allen. But everybody already knows we have to fire Bruce Allen. Fire Bruce Allen, the hashtag. Please get this man up out of here. And also, head coach is a huge need. Because like I said, all of that other stuff I talked about in the previous picture as far as roster needs will not matter if our head coach doesn't use them correctly. Or develop them correctly especially. And then we have Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator for the Chiefs. But with him being so offensive minded, we might not be able to keep Kevin O'Connell. And with the way these past couple of games have gone, with Kevin O'Connell actually taking over and Bill Callahan not stifling his creativity.
Yes!
With all of those running on first and second down and then just throwing Dwayne Haskins out there to figure it out on 3rd and long. Now that Kevin O'Connell has finally taken over, you can clearly see it in the Eagles and Giants game. He had Case Keenum out there balling. Case Keenum had a 99-yard game-tying drive to send it into overtime.
Halfway.
That was Kevin O'Connell. You've seen the trick plays. You've seen the up-tempo that really had Dwayne Haskins going. What was he, like 9 for 9 with 2 touchdowns at one point? We started using Chris Thompson more because we needed speed out there with that college-looking offense that Dwayne Haskins was running and that he was very comfortable with and efficient in. Had receivers open everywhere. We were getting Steven Sims the ball even if it wasn't just a passing play. We had them wide receiver sweeps. We had the trick play where I think Kelvin Harmon threw the ball to Chris Thompson. Just all kinds of stuff. That was Kevin O'Connell. And as much as I love Eric Bieniemy, I would definitely love to have Kevin O'Connell at least be an offensive coordinator. I'm actually okay with him being a head coach with the way he's performed as an offensive coordinator, play caller, scheme designer, all of that. But I would love to have him and Eric Bieniemy work together. But I feel like with Kevin O'Connell being so strong-minded offensively, I feel like we can't have them both, which brings up Urban Meyer, which I don't necessarily want. I prefer him as like a front office role than a head coach. And then you have Ron Rivera, who's defensive-minded.
Excellent.
and still a really good coach. The Panthers only fired him because it was more of like we need a change, and the new owner wanted to go his own direction and not have any real pieces from the previous regime, except for possibly Cam Newton, really, and Luke Kuechly. He's just trying to start over and develop his own culture. Ron Rivera is the best coach that's available, period. He might even be better than Eric Bieniemy, especially early on. Eric Bieniemy might grow to be a better head coach, maybe, over time. But Ron Rivera is my clear-cut, day one, ready to win games favorite. The only problem is, does he want to coach for us? And that's a definite no until we get Bruce Allen out and figure out how we're going to do this front office situation. But Ron Rivera would work very well with Kevin O'Connell. Ron Rivera is more defensive-minded, and he'll get Greg Minuski up out of here, which is really important also. Greg Minuski has to go. I appreciate you for getting us to lose these games, which will land us Chase Young, and we really appreciate your services, but it's time for you to get up out of here when it's time for us to actually try to win games. So Ron Rivera being defensive-minded and bringing along a defensive coaching staff, and then just letting Kevin O'Connell handle everything else. That would be perfect. That would be the best scenario in my opinion. And Ron Rivera is a no slack, get it done, no excuses type of head coach that people are appreciating Bill Callahan for. Bill Callahan, if anything that he's done right, has gotten these players to play hard and look like they actually want to win and need to win. They're playing hard, they're practicing hard, they're being held accountable, all of that. Ron Rivera is that plus more. Better time management, everything.
Write that down!
Better decision maker. The culture he brings is even better because he's proven. He's gone to a Super Bowl. And I honestly feel like the Broncos only won that because the refs cheated. I think they just wanted to give Peyton Manning a good goodbye type of ending, a fairy tale ending.
Tragic!
The Panthers were definitely the better team, and the refs were cheating because Cam Newton was getting toe up, and it should have been all kinds of roughing the passes that weren't called and all kinds of stuff. So Ron Rivera, in my head, won a Super Bowl. And he's able to win games with not much. I mean, Cam Newton went down, and they were still out here looking like a playoff team until like the past 5 weeks, with DJ Moore as their most effective receiver by far. Like, Ron Rivera has shown that he can do a lot with little. And then, like I said previously, the culture he'll bring and the fact that he'll be able to fix this defense as a head coach, and I trust whoever he'll bring in as a defensive coordinator, makes him the clear-cut favorite for me. And on top of that, with him being defensive-minded, he can keep Kevin O'Connell as the offensive coordinator. And I feel like Kevin O'Connell, if he's not named the head coach and if he doesn't want to go get a head coaching job somewhere else, I feel like he definitely has the lead on the offensive coordinator position. Nobody wants to put Dwayne Haskins in a new offense. Not Dwayne Haskins, not whoever we hire as a head coach, who will hopefully be Ron Rivera. Nobody wants to, after Dwayne Haskins has finally showed progress and shown what he can do, nobody wants to just give him a completely new offense, like start over. Everything you just learned, throw it out the window. We're going to do this. So I just don't see why whoever becomes the head coach, hopefully Ron Rivera, would get rid of Kevin O'Connell just to start over with another offensive coordinator. Especially since Kevin O'Connell has put up some good film these past few games, now that he's finally been let off the leash by Bill Callahan. I honestly feel like Dan Snyder, once he decided that Bill Callahan was not the next head coach, because I feel like Dan Snyder actually gave Bill Callahan an honest chance to see if you're going to be the next head coach. I'm going to let you control what Kevin O'Connell do. I'm going to let you run the games how you want to, play call how you want to, or at least have your hand in it, because he clearly did. With as much as we were running the ball and we were setting records for how quickly we were getting out of games and stuff.
It's pretty difficult to put into words how disgusted I am.
That was clearly Bill Callahan's way of thinking. That was not Kevin O'Connell. And I feel like Dan Snyder gave him an honest chance, saw that he wasn't it, based on all of that running that we were doing, off the terrible time management that Bill Callahan has displayed the past few games, the decision making. Should have gone for 2 there. I'm glad you didn't, because we probably would have gotten it and we would have won and we wouldn't be getting Chase Young. But still, if we wanted to win that game, I would have been mad at you. So Dan Snyder, I feel like, finally was like, you know what, Bill Callahan's not it. Let me see what Kevin O'Connell has. Let me just let him go 100% free. Let me tell Bill Callahan to back off, see what we have in him, and he's performed. I love him. I love what he's done for the Redskins. But that's enough of my babble.
Boo! You stink!
Those are the Redskins' top needs, with front office and head coach leading the way. But again, for those of y'all who have short memory like me, or just too lazy to rewind the video, offensive tackle was the #1 need. Kinda tied with tight end with 4 out of 5. Edge rushers 3.5 out of 5. Cornerbacks 3 out of 5. And wide receivers 2 out of 5. And again, like I said in the beginning of this video, use this as a guide if you want. I feel like I'm a genius. I feel like this is perfect. I feel like this is definitely what the Redskins need in order and the exact level of urgency. And these are the best draft prospects and free agents to go get to fill those needs. But I also encourage you to do your own research, your own decision making. Make your own team needs if you want to do a mock draft. If you don't feel like doing all that, here's mine to base your mock drafts off of. This is what I'm going to use as an outline when I make my mock drafts. And I hope y'all do the same. But again, I encourage y'all to make y'all own. Think for yourselves, man. But I appreciate y'all for making it this far in the video. I know a lot of people just click on videos and watch a little bit. Thank you for making it to the end. I try to keep it as entertaining as possible. And of course, if you like the video, please hit that like button because it means a lot. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe because I'm going to keep these videos coming. You know I'm off-season God. When it comes to the Redskins YouTubers, nobody touches me during the offseason. I come with the drafts. I come with statistic analysis. I'm going to look back at the regular season we just finished up and analyze everything that went wrong, what went right, all of that stuff. I'm coming out with videos where I'm going to grade each player and talk about each player in each video. Or at the very least, I'm going to break them up by position and do a position per video and give each player a grade and talk about what they did well and what they didn't do well, what they need to improve on in the offseason, all of that type of stuff. And all them type of things. I'm coming with mock drafts. I'm coming with film sessions. I got y'all. I'm telling you, this offseason is about to be bananas. With how much potential this team has and with how much opportunity we have. We have like $90 million in cap space potentially if we get rid of certain people. Trade, release, whatever. And this is the first time that it seems like we'll actually finally get a new front office. And this is the first time we've been looking for a new head coach since Jay Gruden came into power like 5 years ago. This is like the most opportunistic offseason we've ever had. And I'm so excited. There's so many directions we can go in. Hopefully we go in the right ones. But I'm going to keep bringing y'all all of these offseason videos. I'm at your neck with it. Hit that bell next to the subscribe button if you want to make sure you get notified every time I upload a video. Because like I said, I'm coming with the heat for real.
It's about damn time.
Again, thank y'all for watching the video. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.
That's all, folks.